Well, Richard Thomas, here we sit on a Thursday afternoon in the summer. Football, it's dead easy in the summer. Nothing ever happens. We all put our feet up and go on holiday. Not the case. 3 signings in the door today, 1 yesterday, and that one was young Tom Crawford from Chester. He's caused much interest on social media. A lot of the Chester fans have had some really nice things to say about him. We've seen Chester staff members on Twitter praising him for not only his footballing ability but also his conduct. What is it about him that you guys liked?
Well, there's a number of things really. His age, obviously, and his potential for a start. If he could come in and affect the team straight away, great. But we're not trying to. We won't be putting that pressure on him. If he comes in, has to take his time to embed and learn the way we work and what we want, and get himself to the level which is not a million miles away from where it was last year. Let's be honest, but he still might take some time to adjust. It's a number of things really. His combativeness, his energy, his technical quality, and like you suggest, I've seen a lot of that sort of media outpouring once he's left the club, and it just sort of confirmed what we'd seen and what we thought, and just praise our scouting department that have picked him out and found him and suggested we sort of really chase him, and to be fair to the chairman, he's gone and done that and we've secured him, so it's just exciting on a number of levels really, and hopefully he just gets in the door and it's the ground running.
It's your kind of signing, isn't it, Tomo? Obviously your background's in youth coaching, presumably you'll have some really strong ideas of where he needs to improve and how you're going to get the best from him.
Absolutely. It's always exciting to work with, for me, any player, because you're always trying to improve them regardless of age or experience, but certainly with the younger ones, they're generally very hungry for information, they're very hungry to develop themselves in their careers, which creates as a byproduct that the team gets better and hopefully we're more successful. So yeah, very exciting with signing young players that have got a real appetite and lots of potential.
Had the pleasure of speaking to Tom earlier in the week, and he's confident in his ability in terms of challenging for a first team place, but there's some very, very stiff competition from a number of players in that position. Do you see him as somebody who may well break into the team?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's got to give himself the best chance, but by coming in the door and being effective from the start. But like I said, we won't put that pressure on him, but he certainly could affect it straight away. I know he played for England C, I think last weekend, and heard good things back. Got a couple of friends on the staff there who spoke very highly of him, and everybody speaks highly of his character and his mentality, which is basically the key. Having those two takes you a long way, and it will often outdo technical ability or anything else. But it seems like he's got the whole package. So in terms of as a prospect, it looks like it's gonna be very positive for us.
Conference National is not for the faint-hearted, is it? Especially as a central midfielder, you've got to be physically ready as well as obviously technically ready to play. How much do you think those 17 games you played at that level, including big games like Wrexham away, which is a massive rivalry for Chester, how much will that have set him in good stead to come here and play in front of some big crowds?
Oh yeah, I think he'll make that adjustment quickly, just based on what I've seen. And the people we've spoken to about him in terms of our research and doing our due diligence on trying to get him in the door, I don't think that'll phase him one bit. It seems very level-headed, mature lad. So I don't see that being an issue at all, which will all help to allow him to focus on his football and the specifics that we're talking to him about on a daily basis. So bodes well, really.
Certainly does. On to Thursday's activity. First man through the door was Kane Hemmings. Now Notts fans will obviously remember him most recently for scoring that penalty last minute against us here at Meadow Lane. What is it about Kane that you guys liked?
Again, a lot about the whole package in terms of his athleticism, technical ability, scores goals, and obviously something that we've highlighted in the off season and probably before that, to be honest, that we needed to get more goals. We were productive, throughout the season, but we felt it was an area we might be able to improve. We feel we've done that today, certainly with the 3 lads coming in, but Kane specifically, pace and power, and it will give us a different dynamic in how we can play, having different types coming in the door now. The criticism was thrown at us with possibly slightly predictable second half of the season once teams had worked out how to play against us. We were still very effective and were still very positive with it, and had some great results and took ourselves to the playoffs. So it can't be a huge criticism, but certainly there's the sort of things you need to tweak at that point. You finish 5th. It's not about wholesale change to what you're doing. It's about tweaking certain things and possibly adding a bit of variety to what you do. So hopefully, Kane along with the other guys, that's what they'll bring for us and allow us to offer a bit more variety to undo teams.
With Kane and his pace and power, but obviously also his goal scoring prowess.
Absolutely.
Do you see him potentially being able to play out wide and maybe in a 3 or as a winger as well as a striker?
Yeah, I think that's the thing. That's the sort of one of the standout things here is that we brought in players, and we'll come on to the others in a second, I know, but we brought in players that can offer variety, not only in the way we play, but also in what they can bring to the team. You know, we go on to Andy Kellett in a minute, who grew up as a left back, and you know, we've seen him take us to pieces for Chesterfield on TV as a number 10. So it's about having that variety within the group, and especially if we're going to work with a smaller group this season, we're going to need that variety from different players. You know, we've seen it with Elliot Hewitt over the last 18 months. He can pretty much play any position on the pitch if you ask him to, and he would do it. It's that variety that allows you to have a greater flexibility, and it should help us going forwards to, you know, cope when people get suspended or injured, and offer variety in a way we actually want to play, and playing against different types of opponents. It allows us to have that variety, and that's, you know, we haven't signed him to play out wide, but you can see he's got the attributes to do most jobs in the front 3 or 4. So again, very positive and exciting. Looking forward to get going and working with him. Yeah,
as you mentioned, Andy Kellett grew up as a left back, but as you mentioned, he's certainly potent in that sort of midfield, hovering around the number 10 area as well. Yeah. Where do you see him maybe featuring most for Notts?
Well, that's a good question. We need to, you know, get working with him, sort of discuss with him exactly where he would like to play. You know, we've given it our thought, and we see him playing off the front and potentially as a wide player. Looks very effective driving in. You know, if he plays as a wrong-sided or wrong-footed winger, or an inverted winger as they call it these days. Again, it's about variety. It's about, you know, once we get the full squad settled, so we're at the moment we're sort of signing players we know will improve us. We know I've got a degree of variety, and we're assuming and seeing and believing that they're going to bring us more productivity in the top third of the pitch. Once we got that group finalised, we can then start to go, right, this is the best way to use those players. You know, at this point where we've only got, say, 14 or 15 signed players, we've got our own ideas about where we'll use them, but we can't necessarily commit to that because we might sign somebody else and go, well, actually we might get the offer of somebody else or an option to bring somebody else in that allows us to look at a different dynamic with a certain individual. But yeah, like I say, in the front half of the pitch generally, he's got the ability to play anywhere across the front. Similar to Kane really, although slightly completely different in terms of physicality and what they're going to offer. He can play anywhere across the front. It just means we've got, you know, a different attacking threat really.
He's had an interesting career, hasn't he? He had that loan spell to Manchester United from Bolton, so he went from Bolton in the Championship up to United to play for their under-21s. Guessing that was very much for United to have a look at him. What is it about Andy that you think that sort of bigger clubs and you know, other sides really sort of admire about him? What catches the eye with him?
I think it's his comfort with the ball, and more so I think it's his ability to unlock defences, and he's got that sort of key pass, or, you know, the proverbial assist. That's what is going to be his strength, or that's what we've perceived his strength to be. Just that 10 yards outside of opposition's penalty area when you're looking to break him down and get that final pass to put somebody on goal, which is something we've been looking to add. So that's really what we see as one of his strengths, main strengths really, and he's strong, so we're looking forward to seeing him work as well.
Yeah, certainly are. Finally, Christian Dennis, 21 goals for Chesterfield last season. That certainly has a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
Absolutely. You know, like we said at the start, we feel we've brought in goals today, and you know, like I said, Jason and the boss have worked very, very hard to get these done and get them done quickly, because it allows us to settle then and start to really formulate, like I was alluding to just now. It allows us to sort of formulate exactly how we're going to use these individuals, and get the best collectively out of them. And if you know everybody, or you know as many as possible up front, it allows us time now to plan and prepare that over the next month. And really give that some time and attention, as opposed to waiting to the middle of July and you go, well, okay, now we've got a need for this position. We're doing away with that sort of scenario by getting players in early. We haven't got a need now. We've got a settled squad, or we're getting towards it. Now we can exactly work out how we're going to use them. But yeah, Christian, you know, brings goals, and that's what we're craving. It's what everybody's craving. You know, it's the hardest thing in the game to do. But he does it successfully and very often, so yeah, we're going to be putting the ball in the box, and he'll be doing his work, I'm sure.
Plenty of goals with his left foot as well. How valuable is that?
Yeah, I think goals is the bottom line, regardless of how they come. But I've used the word a number of times, but the variety. If you can get goals from all over the place, you know, we looked at our stats on a regular basis throughout the season, and there was a point where we were sort of 45%, 55% set pieces and open play goals. Well, for me, that's a huge strength, because how do you stop that?
Yeah.
If you got as many from each department, teams can't plan. We only need to defend against X, or we only need to defend against X. You've got so much variety that you can break people down. And if you can go off both sides, or if you can go off, you're good in the air. All that variety just causes defenders more problems. So it's I think it's again another very good signing, and hopefully a lot more goals walking in the door.
Talk about variety. What are the main differences between him and Hemmings, do you think?
I feel that Christian's more sort of in and around the box, and I think that Kane will allow us to build to get to the box, or he'll stretch teams, whereas Christian will do, I think, all of his work inside the box. And Kane will just potentially offer us more outside. I think we'll demand more from Kane outside the box, and Christian's focus will be very much inside it.
It's going to be exciting, certainly is. Where does it leave us in terms of targets? I know, obviously, there's a lot of time to go between now and the start of pre-season, but also now the end of the window. Does this early activity just give you and the gaffer and the chairman a bit of breathing space to really take stock and as you say, assess the strengths you now have within the squad and decide what you need to do a bit later on?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the squad we've got now, I think we're strong and we can compete based on what's gone on in the last 48 hours. It's sort of not the final pieces by any stretch, but based on the players we've asked to stay and the players already under contract, adding these 4 lads really gives us a platform now from which we can start to prepare. I don't think we'll have 1 or 2 more targets that no doubt the boss will be working hard to try and secure for us. And the manager, once we've discussed this again, we'll look at what else we might add. But now, like you say, we're not in a position to chase anything. We're comfortable with what we've got now. There no doubt will be 1 or 2 others coming through the door, but we're under no pressure now to make that happen. We've got what we believe is a strong base, certainly strong foundation from which to build, and allow us to go and do good things next season, hopefully.